Hello, in this video I wanted to talk about the process after you apply for your asylum. So you send the application for the asylum and you got the receipt back from USCIS.gov saying that they accepted your case. Your case has been accepted and it's now in process. What do you do from then on? Obviously, the next step in the application, if everything goes well, will be the asylum interview, right? But there is this time period before, after you apply and before you get called for that interview. Obviously, there is that time period. And if you watched my video where I explained on actually how to apply for asylum and also the, certain tips, you already know that if your asylum is pending for 6 months and more, 180 days, you can apply for employment authorization document, which gives you a right to legally work in the United States. With that document, you can go to Social Security Administration, get your Social Security card. Things just become so much easier, obviously, because now you can legally work, you can file taxes and do all of these things. Life becomes much easier. But assuming that your asylum case is still pending and you have 6 months to go until you can apply for your employment authorization document, what do you do? Well, unfortunately, there is no clear answer to that question. I know a lot of people have these expectations that somehow the government of the United States is going to support you. There is no such support for obvious reasons, because you come to the country, you claim a status, and you basically apply for something where you have to prove that you are being persecuted in another country, that you cannot go back home. So this is the case that will determine it. So the United States government, the USCIS, they have to determine that, obviously. So that's why it's called pending status. There is really no status. It's just a status of just being in the air while you submitted the application and you're waiting. So there is nothing that United States government will do for you, or you are on your own. Whenever you're committing to that process, whenever you're making a choice to do that, you are on your own. There is really nothing that can be expected from the government. And like I said, for obvious reasons, we really cannot expect anything, because we are coming here and we are asking for something from the government. They are already doing something for us by scheduling all of these interviews and all of these sorts of things, right? Honestly, I am not 100% sure why it is necessarily 6 months before you should be able to get your employment authorization documents and start working. Honestly, if it was up to me, I would suggest much shorter terms. Because 6 months, I think it's a little bit too long for a person to live in a country without the money. I know why it was done. It was done with the assumption that, if you are persecuted in another country, you're not going back there. So obviously, all the savings, everything you have, you are now bringing here, and you are starting the new life with those savings here. But this is not taking into consideration that, we are coming here, some of us, without absolutely nothing, and for people like that, obviously it becomes much harder to survive. But the point that I'm trying to make is that you are on your own during those 6 months. Hopefully you won't have to wait for so long for the interview, but if you do, you're on your own. There's really nothing that I can suggest you do. There are no government help available out there for people in pending status, because it's a pending status. What you can do during that time is to stay prepared, because any moment you can get a letter from USCIS calling you for the interview, and interviews are usually scheduled pretty fast from the date you receive the letter. So let's say if you receive a letter from the immigration today and you open it, your interview is going to be scheduled within the next week or two. So they schedule it very quickly once you get it. It might take a few months or a year or 2 years for you to get the letter, but once you do get it, the interview will be scheduled pretty quickly within it. So be prepared. Also, like I said, you will get it by mail. That's the only way USCIS will contact you. So I know whenever you're an immigrant, whenever you're coming to a new country, you don't have that stable address. You leave from one place to another place. That is understandable. But what I recommend you to do, which I recommend to everyone that I helped out with, their cases and stuff like that, don't put your address where you live. Find someone who you can trust, who you are in constant contact with, who have been living here for a while, and you know that they're not gonna move because they live in their own house or they have been living in the same place for a while, and make sure that's their address that is on the USCIS information whenever you're submitting application, because it is much easier to call them, to contact them if you're not living there, to contact those people and ask them, hey guys, did you receive anything from USCIS for me? Compared to, if you live in one place and then you move to another place, whether it's a roommate, whether it's renting an apartment, then trying to get that landlord or trying to go and change your address every time you move with USCIS. Because I know by my own personal experience, whenever you're in the beginning, whenever you're starting your life anew, you will be moving a lot. In the first 6 months, I probably moved like 6 or 7 times. So imagine every time if I had to go, you potentially create a possibility of your mail getting lost, and you definitely do not want to do that, because if the mail is lost, you're the one responsible for it. United States immigration services, they're not going to say, you know what, it's not a problem, we'll send you another one. No, if you miss your interview because you fail to read the letter, it is on you. So make sure you pay attention to the mail, make sure you stay prepared. Obviously, be prepared for some tough financial time. You made the choice, you committed to that. Don't expect anything, don't expect any help from anyone. If you have relatives or somebody who can help you out financially, do it, but don't rely on the government, don't rely on stuff like that, because those sources, they come after you prove your status, after you prove the fact that you came to this country and everything you've said, everything you've claimed is of a true nature and is honest, right? But before that, obviously you can't really rely on anything, and until your 6 months expire, because once your six months expire, once you can apply for your employment authorization document, and I have done detailed video on this channel on how to actually go and how to apply for employment authorization document. Just make sure you keep your eyes on that clock. Make sure you apply as soon as those 6 months expire. You do get your employment authorization card. Everything is processed probably within a month. So 7-8 months and you will have employment authorization document. Then you can go with that employment authorization document, it's a card, to Social Security Administration, any Social Security Administration nearby, and apply for your Social Security and get it, and then go and get a job, and just things will get so much easier. But before that, just be prepared for some financial hardship. It's normal, it's part of it. And like I said, new asylum applications, as far as I know right now, they are processed fairly quickly. So people don't wait that long. People don't wait 6 months. Within a month, they already get scheduled the interview. It was people who filed like 4 years ago, they're still waiting but people who are applying now, for some reason, they're processing them pretty quickly. Again, don't rely on this information because it always changes. It's just as of today, November 2019, that's how things are. There is one special case though, whenever it comes to that financial hardship, is the case of pregnancy. If you are pregnant or you have someone pregnant in your family, your wife, congratulations, first of all. Second of all, this is one thing that you can be a little bit more relaxed about. Everything else, stay focused. But whenever it comes to pregnancy, luckily, it is taken care of. All you really need to do is it might depend on the state that you live in, but I know for a fact that in New York and in Florida, over in those states, everything is a Medicaid, which is the government health insurance program. It covers everything. It covers the pregnancy, it covers the delivery, and then it covers the new mother, right, of a child, obviously, for 6 months. It gives the insurance, free insurance. So any kind of doctor visits, anything, any kind of medication, everything is covered by the Medicaid. And obviously no worries about the baby, because the baby is a brand new United States citizen. So no worries there. Obviously your baby, as soon as he or she is born, he or she will be given a birth certificate, and then with that birth certificate you need to go and get the social security card, and really that's it. Make sure that you are taking care of all the documents, reading everything, because there will be a lot. It's the process itself, the way the system is put is pretty good, but occasionally you will meet people along the way who do not do their job very well. So things like birth certificate, in my case, gets lost, and then you have to go and you have to jump through the hoops to get those things. Get ready for it. It's part of the process. It's just the way it is. It will be there. So even in that case, even when everything is financially covered, even when you don't have to worry about anything, and your wife is taken care of, or your mother, whoever's pregnant, whoever's expecting a baby, still make sure that you're always on top. That is very important, and that's really the whole point of this channel, really. That's why I'm trying to make it, right? That's why I started making it. That's why I will be making it, is to show you that it is you are who responsible for your case. Don't just dump all that on somebody. Don't just pass it to your attorney or whoever. It's not bad to have an attorney. Sometimes you do need an attorney, an immigration attorney. But so many times I've seen people just giving out all the documents to the attorney and then just thinking that everything will be done for them. No, you are the owner of the case. It is your case, and your case is gonna determine your life, really. It's really that important. So make sure you stay on top of it. Keep copies of all the documents. Make sure to read all the documents. Make sure to read everything before you sign anything. Very important. I got a lot of trouble because of that, because sometimes I'm lazy and I don't want to read things. But make sure you definitely stay on top of these things. And as for the 6 months, if you do have to wait, just get ready for it. 6 months, you will see that in this whole immigration process chain of things, right? 6 months is really not that much of the time.